And welcome back. Sometimes taking a look back can be one way to understand what's next. And we're joined next by political analyst, longtime Marquette Law School poll director Charles Franklin. Charles, always great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you know, you do these polls. You did one in June, but the numbers are your thing. And based on the data that you're seeing, you know, region by region, what can we expect tomorrow?
Yeah. Well, I think, first of all, let's say that the poll in June was a while back, but it showed a really close race.
Right, and that's where we're at now.
That's for the general, and it's also for the Republican gubernatorial race, so close race. Region by region in the Republican side, there's been a long history of southeastern Wisconsin being the base for Republican winners, while the north and west of the state have mostly backed outsiders who have generally lost. But we do see a little difference. Rebecca Clayfish's strength when she ran for lieutenant governor was in that Milwaukee media market in the southeast. Whereas if we go all the way back to 2004, when Michaels last ran for something, he had real strength in the Green Bay area and the Fox Valley. And then if you went to the western part of the state, those were the regions that both Clayfish and Michaels lost in the past. So which one of them's going to pick that up? And how well will Rampton run, perhaps, in some of those Trumpier areas in the north and west of the state?
And see how that might impact Michaels. Mike Goucher touched on Newman, the Newman-Walker race from all those years ago. I didn't realize or didn't remember that discrepancy in how much Newman had won outstate.
And I confess, I had to go back and look it up myself. But that's exactly the example of Walker won the southeast really strongly. Newman did well in the north and west, and not badly in the Green Bay area. Republican primaries have long had this regional kind of split, and only occasionally does it become primarily a Green Bay versus other parts. It's almost always the southeast. But in this case, with two strong candidates, can Clayfish really get the kind of big margins in the southeast, or does Michaels eat into that? And conversely, she won in the Green Bay area in her lieutenant governor's race. Does she eat into some of his strength? So the bottom line is it's close, and I don't know, but I'll be watching for their relative performance in the southeast and Green Bay, and then look at the rest of the state. Is that going lopsidedly?
Is there any reason really to watch the Senate race tomorrow? I hate to say foregone conclusion. It would seem Mandela Barnes is gonna win tomorrow, but are we already just looking ahead to the general?
Well, I think we certainly expect him to win. The three candidates that dropped out all endorsed him, so if they have any sway, then that's strong. And the other candidates have done a little bit of advertising and certainly a lot of campaigning. It will be a major story if Barnes does not rack up a major win.
And then what was your polling showing in June with regards to that race? Johnson against, at that point, I guess a hypothetical matchup with Mandela Barnes.
Barnes was 2 points ahead of Johnson, but that's well inside the margin of error. And in the governor's race, we had a 4-point lead for Evers over Clayfish and 7 points over Michaels. I think it's a little stronger for November on the governor's side, but a true toss-up, no matter who the nominee was going to be on the Senate side.
Is it going to be really? I mean, is there any? I used the word referendum on Trump, but is it more about the individual candidates, or how much do you think those endorsements will play a role tomorrow?
I think it's a mix of both of those things. Our best estimate from June was that the Trump endorsement was maybe worth 4 points for Michaels, but Scott Walker's endorsement of Clayfish was worth about 4 points for her. So it really looked like a wash on the endorsement side. And again, that was a long time ago, and those two endorsers have really ramped up their participation in the race in this last week.
I know. I'm excited to see the 91 days that follow. It's going to be wild. I know I'm sure you'll have some polls for us. What do you expect in those 91 days? I mean, it's going to be an onslaught of ads, and it's going to be a wild stretch.
It will be an onslaught of ads. I think both sides believe the other is vulnerable to attack ads, so I would expect to see an awful lot of attack ads. I also think we have two really important races here. One that determines whether state government will continue under divided government or whether we'll go to unified Republican government. And so there are big policy implications of that. And on the Senate side, of course, it's control of the U.S. Senate that this is important for, though maybe that's a little more distant for everyday voters compared to the governor's race. So the governor's race might drive the turnout a little bit more, and the Senate race come along behind on turnout.
Well, it is going to be interesting. And Charles, as always, we appreciate your insight. It's always good to have you with us.
Thank you.